very good because it was a little too loose. They would like people to feel that there was only one future life, and the quality of that was determined by how well they fit in with the church's orders. And so they banned, therefore, transmigration belief, which was common in all of the Mediterranean cultures.
Though no longer embraced by mainstream Judaism or Christianity, reincarnation may once have been fundamental to both faiths. Ever since mainstream Judaism and Christianity had suppressed the concept of reincarnation centuries ago, little credence was given to it in the West. But by the 19th century, all that was about to change. The place was upstate New York, about 20 miles from Rochester. The year was 1848. The sleepy little hamlet of Hydesville was as quiet and uneventful a place as a small American town could be. However, in the home of John and Margaret Fox and their young daughters Kate and Margaret, a series of strange events were about to unfold. Beginning around the middle of March, the family began to be disturbed by strange noises. Then, on March 31st, the youngest daughter, Kate, challenged the strange, unseen force. In response to the loud thumping noises that she heard, she snapped her fingers in reply. Over the next few nights, she and the mysterious entity worked out a form of communication. Then, the other daughter, Margaret, began asking questions of the spirit force. If your answer is yes, knock twice, she said. If no, knock once. And so, over a period of evenings, it was learned that the spirit in the house once belonged to a man who'd been murdered in one of the bedrooms and buried in the cellar. When the floor of the cellar was dug up, a human skeleton was found buried there, confirming the story. Though the murderer was never found, and the case remained unsolved, what the incident did was to ignite public interest in the survival of the soul after death, a fundamental tenet in belief in reincarnation. Suddenly, spiritualism and the possibility of communicating with departed souls became popular. Additional impetus behind the awakening of a belief in reincarnation came from the other side of the world, from the daughter of a Russian colonel. Born Helena Hahn in the Ukraine in 1831, she, more than any other, was to challenge the conventional view that the soul does not incarnate again after death.
She was born, according to her relatives, with an air of mystery surrounding her. She would often talk about things that were, for the most part, mysterious to the family. They didn't quite know what she was talking about. And she would talk about adventures that she had that everybody knew did not happen, but with such a conviction that it was actually, to her, the real thing.
In her late teens, Helena Hahn married a military man more than 20 years her senior. He was General Nikifor Blavatsky. Thus it was that the simple Helena Hahn would become better known to the world as Madame Helena Blavatsky, eventually to be one of the most influential forces behind a popular rekindling of belief in reincarnation. Desperately unhappy with her marriage, Madame Blavatsky deserted her husband and immediately began traveling the world in search of adventure. Her driving quest was to investigate the religious doctrines of the East.
She traveled throughout the world, including North America, Europe, Egypt, the Near East, India, Tibet. The purpose of her traveling was to try to find the wisdom, the ancient wisdom. And what she did was to collect this wisdom that she studied from books and from elsewhere, and she synthesized it to teach what she called the secret doctrine, or the wisdom of the ages. What she claimed was that this was the primeval religion of humanity and the truth, that the wisdom somehow was corrupted or lost by other religions that retained at least part of it, and what she was trying to do was to rediscover what this truth was.
In 1873, Madame Blavatsky arrived in the United States and found the country in the grip of the spiritualism craze following the strange experiences of the Fox family in upstate New York. Anxious to share the mystical experiences she had in Egypt, Tibet, and India, and to offer insight into those cultures' belief in reincarnation, Madame Blavatsky attended a spiritualist meeting at a remote farm near Chittenden in Vermont. There, she met Colonel Henry Steele Olcott. The two struck up an immediate friendship. In September 1875, Blavatsky and Olcott formed the Theosophical Society, an organization dedicated to the study of occultism, ancient religion, and the process of reincarnation. Madame Blavatsky was a prolific writer, expounding her beliefs in reincarnation in monumental works such as The Secret Doctrine and Isis Unveiled. Madame Blavatsky and Colonel Olcott eventually moved their Theosophical Society to India, where they could be nearer to the Hindu masters from whom they wished to learn more. In 1884, they relocated to Europe. 7 years later, on May 8, 1891, Madame Blavatsky died in Surrey, England. What is her legacy today as one of the first Western exponents of reincarnation and the transmigration of the soul?
Every single writer who speaks on reincarnation probably owes a depth of gratitude towards Blavatsky. It's Blavatsky who gives the definition of what reincarnation is.
It is one of the greatest of all mysteries, and one of our oldest quests. Have we lived before? And following death, do we come back and live again? One of the most compelling cases of a vivid remembrance of a past life took the world by storm in the early 50s. Colorado businessman and amateur hypnotist Maury Bernstein was popular among his friends and associates for his ability to lull people into a trance-like sleep and coax them into recalling incidents from their past, often even as far back as their childhood. However, in 1952, he did not suspect that one of his subjects, Virginia Tighe, would graphically recall incidents from a previous lifetime. When news leaked out that the 29-year-old mother of three was able to recall a past incarnation, Bernstein gave her the pseudonym of Ruth Simmons to preserve her identity and protect her from an increasingly curious press. Under hypnosis, the young woman identified herself as Bridie Murphy, born in the city of Cork, Ireland, in 1798. These are actual recordings made during her hypnosis sessions.
And what is your name?
Bridie.
See, why did they name you that? named me after my grandmother, Bridget,
Oh.
Pridey.